All right. I love what AI can do with images. It makes me look actually decent. So
That's gonna be my first comment. You look great.
all right. Thank you very much. Welcome, Brandon West. I appreciate you coming in today. Very exciting topic, that you have that you're bringing to CLIPA Con. Very excited to have you in, and we'll get right to it. So let's just hear a little bit about yourself, Brandon. Just tell us a little bit about yourself and what where you work and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure I've ever heard the word exciting preceding what I offer. So that's a nice intro.
No,
So
I didn't want to say it, but whatever.
I'll own it. We do the boring stuff so people can do the fun stuff. That's kind of what we do. But my name's Brandon West. So I have one business partner. So the two of us together run 77 Financial Group. So I'm a CPA. My partner James is a financial advisor, and so we offer basically a comprehensive list of things from helping people start businesses to doing monthly and weekly stuff like bookkeeping and payroll to doing year-end stuff like tax returns and financial planning, account management, all that stuff along the way. So I come from a background of public accounting. So I graduated 2016 from Point Loma, went straight to a large accounting firm named CBiz MHM and spent about 2 years there, got my CPA degree while I was there. Graduated from college with both finance and accounting. So went the accounting route, liked the work, didn't really like how distanced I felt from people I worked with. My background is really a lot of like public speaking type of stuff. So I was like a nationally ranked college debater. I taught a lot of speech and debate. So it was a disconnect of like, I like what I'm doing, but being just in front of a computer is not really working for me. So left after about 2 years at CBiz, started my own business. And so I've been doing that for almost 10 years now. So this is my first year with a business partner that can do all the financial planning stuff, but I've been working with small businesses and individuals of every type for almost a decade now, just working on whatever they need, basically.
Yeah. It's not, and I think we've talked about this. It's not very exciting. Your business, nobody, finances and all this stuff, but it's so important. It's so crucial. And it's really important for people to, and not to downgrade your, what you do, your profession. I think it's a great profession, but people talk numbers, and a lot of people don't, dive deep into their numbers, and they just look at the gross and they're like, hey, look at this, all that stuff. And they really need this. And I think this is a very important class. And we've never really had somebody speak on this topic, but I think it's really important, and it's going to be a good draw. I think we'll get a lot of people in there because they do need to know these lessons. They need to know what is their business doing, the CPA side of it. That's very important to have a good CPA that can, I don't want to say fudge the numbers, but help you out where you not have to spend so much money.
So these terms like maximize,
maximize there you go. Yeah. I use fudge, you use maximize. So
right.
So that's good. So you Point Loma, that's pretty cool. We actually did Christmas lights down at Point Loma. I don't know if you were there at the time. Yeah, the whole walk where you walk past the Commons, I think it's called, by the gym.
Yeah. Very cool.
There's lights, patio lights that go across palm tree to palm tree.
Yeah,
so
beautiful.
The lights down there for several years. Yeah, so I don't know if they're still there or not, but that was years ago. So very familiar with San Diego. I grew up in San Diego. You guys based out of San Diego?
Yeah, we're based in San Diego. So our office is in Vista. We both live in Oceanside. So we're kind of that North County, San Diego area.
Very close to us, about 20 minutes, 25, 30 minutes away.
Yeah.
So let's talk about you guys being in California. You offer services nationwide. Are you able to branch out and do CPA and, what you have to offer? Is it nationwide or is it just here in California?
Yeah, that's a great question. I get that question a lot. Hey, I have someone who needs a tax person, but they live in Texas, whatever. So a California CPA has what's called equivalency in all 50 states. So anybody, regardless of what state you're at, what type of business you have, I would be licensed. So my license is in California, but that offers equivalency to prepare tax returns and like practice the practice of accounting in any state.
Should I be worried if I am in another state? Should I be worried that it's a California CPA? Do they know the rules, the regulations, or whatever comes along with the ever evolving tax of federal and state? Is that something I should be worried about, or is that something that you guys stay on top of?
Yeah, great point. It's definitely something we stay on top of. CPAs have to take almost 100 hours every 2 years of continuing education. So we're constantly enrolled in things to go over state differences and things like that. It's also kind of my experience. So coming from a large accounting firm, that was my whole first 2 years of my job, was doing huge S corporation, partnership, whatever tax returns that have business in 37 states and partners in 17 states, and the complexities of having to handle all the different state laws. So going over state laws, reviewing differences, that type of thing has kind of always been part of what I do. So I'm pretty comfortable with it. And it ends up, I think, not being quite as different as people think it is. To be honest, if you know federal taxes, you know about 95% of it. And then you just have to know the couple things that are different, that where the state kind of differs from the federal law, and just kind of be able to understand those nuances and create those reconciliations.
Yeah. Makes sense. So what can we expect? What can audience members expect? We're doing these interviews because we really want to get people excited about, going to this class, going this. And unfortunately, we do have overlapping classes. So everybody's not going to be able to make every single one. Right. You guys will be down there. You'll be available to answer any questions throughout the event, which is kind of nice. So it's not just, oh, we saw Brandon speak and he's gone, type thing. So you'll be around both days, which is great. So what can people expect, to see if they come to your engagement, your speaking engagement? What do they expect?
Yeah, so the two people who choose to go to my tax engagement and sit through that. No, so what I would tell people is just come expecting to be bored, to expect to not be the most exciting thing. Hopefully you won't be. I don't think you will, but just come expecting to be like, all right, man, I got to sit through an hour and it's going to help my business and it's going to save me money. Just go in with that mindset and it'll probably exceed your expectations. But we're going to go over both general things very briefly. I don't want to take for granted that a lot of these people, I would assume they know Christmas lights and they might not have ever ran a business before. So there are differences. There are differences you should know about. If you've worked jobs and now you're starting this, you're doing this thing on your own. There's tax differences. There's organizational differences. There's payroll differences. There's bookkeeping differences. Everything's different than when you have a job and you just get a W-2. So you will learn something. I can all but promise you, if you listen to the lecture or seminar, that you will have at least one thing that tangibly saves you money by the end of the year. That's something you probably didn't know going into it. I guarantee I know more about tax savings and bookkeeping than you do if you're not a professional. So you'll learn something and it'll help you save money. So if you're not excited about the business side of your business, if that's like you just get through it, then just get through it and save more money than you would have doing it all your own.
Sure. Well, maybe we do like a free happy hour or something like that during your.
Yeah. Can we bring in some beer and pizza and keep people happy?
Yeah. Oh, we'll get an audience if that's the case. We'll definitely get some people in there. So I think it's important. I think it really is. Even though it may sound like a boring topic and all that stuff, I think you're right. These people will say, "You want to save money? This is the opportunity to do that. To hear how can you?" And I'm sure you're going to have some really cool stuff. That's going to help people, in the long run, save some money. And that, what would you think the top thing, what would you throw out there? Like, and this is what I see with all the people I work with. This is the top thing where I see they're making mistakes and they're really hurting themselves, when filing taxes or whatever it may be in a business. Is there one thing that you really see that sticks out that today people are like, oh man, I do that. Shoot, I'm going to change that up. Anything out there that we can, that you can throw some nuggets to us?
Yeah, I would say on the day-to-day stuff, I think to use a little bit of terminology here, there's a difference between tax basis and accrual basis in terms of when you're allowed to record revenue and when you're allowed to write off expenses. If you don't know the nuances of those things, I think you won't even know if your books are wrong because you don't know that thing isn't deductible in this year, or it should be deductible in this year and you didn't deduct it. So I think the biggest thing I see is just people who think they're sending me their year-end finalized paperwork to do taxes and they don't realize their books are even wrong. And in one case, I worked with a client and the first year I came on, we found something like $73,000 worth of either double counted things that they didn't realize was already somewhere else that they had recorded, or miscounted things that were missing. And it was a total of about $73,000 of omissions and errors that made a massive difference in how much they paid in taxes at the end of that year.
Yeah, and that's something, cash versus, accrual and stuff like that. That's something you really want to know. How are you filing? Are you filing a cash basis, accrual
Mhm.
basis? Can you, kind of talk about those two without getting too crazy? Because I'm sure you're going to talk about it in your presentation. Just talk about those two. When do you decide as a company to go cash or an accrual basis? At what point is it a certain level, like in revenue, that get to a point and you have to move over to cash, or back and forth?
Yeah, great question. So, in terms of when you have to, the answer would be size. So, there are certain numbers the IRS gives that if you're a business of this size, you have to start using accrual basis. And it's just because it has a more accurate accounting, even though it's not what people are familiar with. And that means that if you're performing a job, you recognize revenue when the job is done, but they might not have paid you yet.
Yeah.
And so, if you're a public company that's preparing end of year financial statements and you hear about Apple or Microsoft and you read a prospectus or you read an end of year financial report, the investors in that company, they don't really care if like people paid Walmart yet. They want to know, here's the projects Walmart has completed and done, and therefore there's the value of their endeavors, so to speak, throughout the year. I think the biggest thing for people to know without going into the weeds is that it's not black and white. So even if you're a cash basis, which I would guess 90 to 95% of people just starting a Christmas lights, or maybe they've been in a couple years, if they're doing lighting, they're probably not at the levels where you're forced to do accrual basis. But there are still things like depreciation of major assets, accounting for inventory, that even if you're a cash basis, you still have to record those items on an accrual basis. So if you don't know the nuances of those things, that can be a pretty significant tax mistake. If you have $50,000 in inventory and lights and you're accounting for them wrong, that's a pretty big error on your tax return.
Yeah, for sure. And I could probably keep you on here for days, because just for my benefit, let me ask you about this. Let me ask you about this, just so I can know. Well, let's just say this company did this. What would you say in that instance? Just get some free
Right.
advice, but I won't do that to you. Yeah, so good information. And it really, people don't think about that stuff, the cash accrual, depreciation of assets, things they buy. There's certain tricks and there's certain things. I'm just like mind blown, by my CPA and, what they come up with, which is, pretty creative. And, we always want to stay legit. You don't want to do anything you don't want the IRS after you, let's just put it that way. The federal government coming after you. So I'm sure the way you guys operate, the things you're doing are all, legit, and you find loopholes, you find the way to maximize their savings, for any of your clients, because that's what your job is. And,
Absolutely.
somebody that specializes, and let them do that stuff. So, highly recommend, somebody getting a CPA. A lot of people are asked all the time, anybody know, so I think this is going to be a great event for you. And yeah, you may not have the audience, but I think you're going to get a lot of friends and a lot of acquaintance, a lot of people you can, turn into potential clients, which is great. So
yeah, I hope it's beneficial for sure.
It will be, no doubt in my mind. So anything else they can expect out of you, and anything else we see on stage? It'll be exciting, regardless if you think it's boring. I think it's a topic that's much needed, and I think you'll be shocked by how many people actually will attend and come up to your booth and talk to you and stuff like that. So anything else you can throw at us, that we should look forward to?
Yeah, I would say if I can kind of summarize what the benefit is, I would say there's at least one or two things that will help you at every stage of your business. So if you're starting out, priority is getting your organizational structure down, making sure your numbers are accounted for, that you have clean systems in place, that you're not all over the place, that you're maximizing your deductions. You move into the level of profitability, that's kind of stage two. Maybe you're hiring employees. Maybe you're just starting. Hey, this is the first year we're going to be black. We've already bought a lot of equipment, so our margins are way better this year. Well, now you're going to learn something about what type of retirement accounts can you set up for yourself as a business owner. How can you put money away to save on taxes in an account that's maximizing value, instead of just you made $100,000 and you pay taxes on $100,000. Let's put away $50,000, save you taxes, save for retirement. And then if you're at the end of the process where you've grown a big company, you're going to learn payroll for handing off responsibilities. You're going to learn better bookkeeping tips if you are selling your business and you're at the tail end where you're trying to maximize value on paper. you're going to get value out of that. So wherever you are, you're going to save money, you're going to put away money, or you're going to maximize your return at the end of the road. So I would say wherever you're at, you're going to learn something. It's going to be beneficial to you. And there's definitely something for everybody.
I'm sold. I love it.
All right, we'll see that.
At what point do we drop TurboTax and jump in with a CPA? What point in my business do I do that? And is there a time to recognize that and be like, okay, we're dropping TurboTax or whatever the ones you can do real quick and file? At what point should a corporation or a company hire a CPA? Because it does cost money. It's not, it's not free by any means. So what would you recommend with that?
Yeah, I would say, to be honest, 80 to 90% of the time, at the point where you have a business, you should actually have an accountant and not do it yourself with TurboTax. I would say individuals have a pretty good amount of leniency. There's really not a lot of rules for W-2 employees, basic retirement accounts, things like that. But at the point where you have a business in any shape or form, whether you're running a lighting company, or even people get a bunch of rental properties and now they're managing all these different things, at the point where you have business endeavors, there's probably things that you don't know. And I would not recommend using a tax software for that. I send tons of people to just like, you should just do this on H&R Block. Like there's really no reason for you to hire me. But at the point where you're running a business, there's going to be value, if nothing else, for the relationship to have an accountant that you can say, I'm going to do this. Is this legit? Hey, these are the things I have coming up. Are there ways I can maximize this before I make these purchases? Are there things I should know? That relationship is going to save you throughout the year. And it's definitely going to save you at tax time, because there's just going to be nuances of business accounting that are not going to be asked to you or necessarily prompted to you perfectly, just going through a software and entering your information.
Yeah. I've had a CPA from the get-go, and it has saved me more money than I've spent tenfold. So definitely highly recommended. And I like that. I like that answer. Right when you start a business, that's when you get your CPA your first year, because I guarantee you will find some ways to save them money where, it offsets the expenses and down the road too. Just knowing all those rules, the new, 6,500 here to a 401k or whatever, those things like that. It's where it's not being taxed. And then, you're putting it into your 401k. So pre-tax and all that fun stuff. So know more about it than me. I just know what my CPA has told me. You should do this, 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 this. Okay. And you just got to listen to them. So
you're firing back some terms. So you've clearly learned something from your CPA.
I've been through a lot with the CPA, so I've learned a lot, but not as much as you. Not anywhere close. I'm not debating you on CPA or anything. I'll debate you on the Christmas lights. We'll get on stage.
Yeah, right.
Not on the stuff you do is amazing. So, really looking forward to it. I think you have a great topic, and it's much needed, whether people believe it or not. It looks boring, but I think it is crucial for people to understand and know and take that path of hiring a CPA right out of the gates. If you do start a corporation, to allow you to save some money, and that's really what it's all about. And doing things the right way, of course. So, anything else you want to throw in there?
No, I think that's it. I know my mom used to teach English and writing, and people go, oh, is this worth it? Is it worth tutoring? She would always just say, well, ask your child, is it worth it? Like when you go and you meet with Mrs. West, are you learning something? Right. I would use the same logic. So don't hire me on day one. Go listen to what I have to say. I think you'll learn pretty quickly. Am I tracking all of that? And am I confident I can handle all of that to the utmost and maximize my deductions? Because I think if you just come talk to us at our booth, if you come listen to the seminar, you'll be like, okay, yeah, there's thousands of dollars here that I don't really know how to maximize, and it's going to pay for itself.
Yeah. Bring your questions. If you're attending CLIPA Con, definitely bring your questions, ask Absolutely. At the booth. I'm sure Brandon and his team will be more than willing to share with you, help you in any way. And then hopefully it results in, hiring him, but that's up to you guys. So looking forward to it. Brandon, we really appreciate you coming in. I'm excited to see you in San Diego. You don't have to travel very far. You're kind of like us, a little bit closer, but works out perfect. First time we've had you out there. Looking forward to hearing you speak. And I think you have a lot to bring to the table. So very excited about it. So do appreciate you coming in. Join us for CLIPA Con May 2nd and 3rd. It's at San Diego, at the Bahia Resort. Looking forward to it. We've got some great events planned. We've got some pre-show classes if you want to attend those. We've got a landscape lighting with Ryan Lee. This is awesome. So anybody that wants to, look at getting into the landscape lighting industry, Ryan Lee is going to do a full training 2 days prior. We did that training last year, and it's phenomenal. So if you can join Ryan for that, you can find more details or go to CLIPA.com. We have that. We've got a sales class that Chelsea is going to be doing, commercial sales. So it's a boot camp, and you're going to have to get on the phones and make some phone calls. We've got our multi-seasonal lighting that we're offering. So multi-season lighting is for anybody that wants to expand outside the holiday season. If you want to start doing installations, May, June, July, August, September, we're going to teach you the ins and outs of that. So you can join us for that. And then we also have a lift and safety class that we're teaching. So if you want to get certified in lift operation, they do scissors lifts, they do forklifts, they do big boom lifts. We're going to have those out there. You can get up and ride in them. And if you pass, you are lift certified. So looking forward to that. Great social events. We got the social event, which is going to be on the Bahia Bell. It's a boat that's going to take us out on the water for about 2 hours, just on the bay. So it's not going to be too bad rocky wise. If you get sick, bring your patches, whatever. But looking forward to that. It's a great opportunity for networking. Brandon will be out there to be able to network, talk to people, shake hands, make friends, and all sorts of stuff. So join us for CLIPA Con 24, May 2nd and 3rd, Bahia Resort in San Diego, California. Brandon, thank you very much. Thank you for joining us. Looking forward to seeing you in San Diego.
Absolutely. See you there.
All right, buddy.